In this chapter, the mother of Enola says that she names him Enola because backwards is alone and she wants that she were alone.
Enola was looking for her mother and asked the assistant where her mother was, and since she didn't know, she went to us around the town and went to deliver a telegram to the post office and gave a note to the policeman, and then to the wife of the vicar. She continued asking everybody into, but they said, I don't know.
Enola went to the nearest town to the railway station, 10 miles from Kineford. In the morning, Enola brushed her hair trying to make it shiny, then tied it with a white ribbon to match her upper-class dress. She wondered if Walt recognized her brothers at the railway station. He hadn't seen the signs. He was 4 years old at his father's funeral.
Enola enters her mother's room with her siblings after her mother disappeared. They try to search clues about their mother's disappearance, but Sherlock and Mycroft didn't stop complaining about the mess in the house ever since they had left. They were also complaining about their own mother and the disaster of person that she was. After so many complaints, they deduced that surely she had no plans to leave house, and while later they discovered that she escaped.
Enola, after returning from the forest, went to her mother's room and put on a dress of hers. Then went to dinner with Sherlock and Mycroft. They were having dinner quietly when Mycroft told Enola that we contact a seamstress in London para provide her suitable clothes to go to boarding school. She tried to convince Mycroft not to go, but Mycroft did not give, and Enola went to her room agreeing.
In my chapter, Enola's mom left her and left the present. In that present, she found a letter, but not with normal letters, with chiffres. Then she discovered the word alone, which is backwards Enola. So after, she paid attention to the word mom. But it was. Then she found another word and made a sentence. Enola, look at my chrysanthemums. That is this picture. They painted her mom. In the picture, she found money and that left her mom. And then she has to go to London.
Enola was ready to go to the boarding school in Fenderhall. When she entered to the boarding school, the seamstress has arrived from London and she took Enola's measuring. The seamstress located an advertisement about the ideal corset for perfecting thin figures. Sherlock reported no word of mother. Enola found jumbled letters that form a word which all had been made by mother. Enola ordered the words, and what she says was, Enola, look in my bedknobs. Enola ran away from the boarding school to a forest.
In this chapter, Enola escaped to the forest by bike. She was wearing a black dress and she didn't have any suitcase. Sherlock and Mycroft were looking for a girl with another type of clothing and with a suitcase, so they couldn't find her.
Hello. In my chapter 9, quite a few things happened. Let's start from the beginning. Enola pedaled for a long time until she reached the train stop, the one that's supposed to take her to London, until she heard that someone was selling newspapers. She bought one since the sellers say that Lord Tewkesbury had been kidnapped. After reading it, she went to the Lord's palace. In the palace, the Lord's mother was very rude. No matter, Enola went to search the little Lord Tewkesbury.
Enola woke blindly. She didn't know what to do because Enola ran away from her home to search for her mother who had disappeared overnight. His brother Sherlock Holmes and his other brother, Microsoft Holmes, went to their house to find out some clue as to where his mother was. Enola preferred to go to London to look for her so that her brother would not know where she was. She dressed as a mourning woman and bought very large black hat.
Hi, I'm Enrique, and this is my speaking project. As you can see, Enola tries to run away from the killer. In the end, the killer managed to catch her. What she doesn't know is that she is closer to her mom than he is.
Enola met to discount on a ship while she was kidnapped. Lord Tewkesbury told Enola that they wanted to steal her ring. Then she suddenly felt as if she was being stabbed into her chest, but she held on. A skeletal hunted over kidnapper appeared on the stairs. The kidnapper introduced himself and discovered that she was Sherlock Holmes' sister. Enola realized it was the man that was following her on the train. Later, Enola's hands and legs were tired, so she couldn't sleep, and then she heard the word loot, which means money.
Enola and Lord Tewkesbury were trying to escape. One of the kidnappers caught them. As he commanded to keep on rocking the boat, Enola's wrists were burning from rubbing the boat, and Tweaky was hurt from being kicked in the leg by Squeaky, the kidnapper. After that, Enola hoisted her primitive weapon and brought it upon Squeaky's head. He fell without a sound into the water. Enola finished untying her and Tweaky and started to escape. As they were running, the other kidnappers started to chase them. They got into a small town and were able to get into a used clothing shop before the kidnapper caught them.
In this chapter, a lady embraced Enola and her friend into her house, and she gives food and clothes.
Once Enola and Vicky got the clothes from Mr. Cohan, they left the house and walked around the noisy London. London was a very loud and crowded place. There were lots of poor people asking for money on the street, and it was easy to hide. They saw a person selling newspapers and realized that Vicky's face was right on the front page, and they got really nervous. The newspaper said that someone had disappeared, Vicky, and they were offering money to rescue him. That wasn't true, so they decided to go back to Scotland Yard to avoid those people stealing from Twicky's family. They took a taxi and left London.
Chapter 15 begins with Enola and Tewkesbury going in a carriage to London. In London, they go to Scotland Yard, and specifically to Inspector Lestbury. While they're waiting, Enola sees her brother, Sherlock, speaking with Inspector Lestbury. He is there because he's searching for Enola. Enola is in London because she's searching for her mother. Enola tried to contact her mother through hidden messages in a newspaper. Enola does not find her mother at the end.
London foggy day of November. I have represented Enola Holmes in the three rules she assumed. 1. Enola escaped from home to look for her mother, becoming a detective. 2. As the lady dressed in black used to investigate freely. 3. As CV mentioned the personality she adopted in London to contact her mother with secret messages in the Pullman Gazette. I have also represented her mother, Eudoria Bernard Holmes, alias Siri, who escaped to live free like the gypsy. Iris and Evie finally contact with secret code using the language of flower. Eudoria is flowering like an rambling rose. A rose means love.